Right, so now we know. Aux Alpha was GLM 5.3 Flash. I've been playing around with it for a couple of days. It's a multimodal model now, so it's got vision. It's able to see. It can also process video and audio. I was able to use my agent to generate this image here, and then show this to Aux Alpha, which, like I said, now we know is GLM. But I was able to show that to the model, and well, in about 6 or 7 prompts total, I ended up at this. So what we're looking at here is my live broadcasting engine, right? Like, this all runs inside of OBS. And I just got done doing like a 1-hour test stream of the system running on its own. Momentarily here, we're going to actually enter report mode, and you'll get to see a little bit of a different presentation on that. Let me get out of the way. Oh, we've got like 5 minutes. Cool. So on their blog, GLM 5.3 Flash, Frontier Intelligence Flash Cost, we introduced GLM 5.3 Flash, the first natively multimodal model in the GLM 5 series. With 320B total parameters, it definitely means you're not running it on your laptop. And just 18 billion active parameters, it outperforms GLM 5.2 across benchmarks and real-world workloads. I want to skip ahead, though, because all of this preview traffic has been served on Chinese AI chips, and that is incredibly relevant. It is important that Nvidia not be the only manufacturer of good chips for running AI inference. So it's really good, and it's quite promising to see that China is now getting to a point where we're getting this level of performance. And I spent 2 solid days working with it, and I really didn't have any problems at all. I have some commentary. We'll get to that in a bit. So here is the Hugging Face page. So on reveal day, it's ready to go. If you have the capacity, if you're capable, it is a 321 billion parameter BF16 model. You can also get it as float 32. So it's a biggin. Yeah, it's huge. However, if you have, I guess, what would that be, 1.2 terabytes of VRAM, then by all means, it seems like a wonderful thing to try to run locally on your local inference. If that's out of sight for you, understandable. I get it. The pricing, at least right now on OpenRouter, is a 50% discount, introductory price of, well, basically 7.5 cents per million input, 25 cents per million output. Again, those numbers will double. This is currently a 50% off introductory price. So that's going to jump to, what's that, 15 cents per million in, 50 cents per million out. Still incredibly affordable. I have seen some just erroneous reporting on the pricing of this versus DeepSeek, saying that it's cheaper than DeepSeek, and it clearly is not. On OpenRouter, right now, DeepSeek V4 Flash, and that was the comparison made, is only 3 cents per million in and 7.5 cents per million out, which is about 1/3 the cost of the discounted rate for GLM 5.3 Flash. Now, what I will say about that, okay, is during my testing, one of the things I noticed as a consistent trait of the model is it does an awful lot less thinking. It just doesn't burn as many tokens in the, like my planning phase, for example. I use GLM 5.2 and DeepSeek V4 Flash as my daily driver combo, right? GLM is always my planning robot, and DeepSeek is my workhorse that goes off and, implements the plan. So I have a lot of recent reference versus GLM 5.2. So it's literally like landing with 20% to 25% total token burn. So what used to be like about 120 to 180,000 tokens worth of thinking just in the plan, right? Just in getting a plan on disk. Is now about 25,000 tokens, right? So massive reduction. It just doesn't dive into the, wait, what if actually, maybe I should write the code now, but hold on a second, let me take, it doesn't go through that, like, I call it academic paralysis, where like it wants to, you know, honor the make no mistakes, bro, and go for the benchmark high score. Whereas it's often better, I swear, to just get something on disk and then iterate towards perfect. It's like this thing just wants to sit in, well, not 5.3 flash, 5.2 is going to want to sit there. And sometimes I've actually had it just spin off into a ThinkFest that did not end. DeepSeek V4 Flash is guilty of the exact same behavior. They will just tend to, you know, really overthink, and that does not matter what level of reasoning I have it set on either. They can definitely spin off into never-ending ThinkFests. 5.3 Flash, on the other hand, same set of environment variables, the same system prompt, the same configuration, the same, literally everything. Does not do that. It's like it gets its notes together lickety split, and then it's just ready to put its head down and dive into the task, and it works in a straight line until it's finished. Now, one of the things I did notice, and this is why I use DeepSeek as my workhorse to actually go implement plans, GLM, and this is for a while now, when you're letting it actually build code, can miss details. It just does. Like, for example, on the newsroom, okay, you'll see there's a stock ticker at the top of the screen, and the spec called for negative change to be red, positive change to be green, stuff like that. It didn't get that, right? Like, it just didn't implement that on the first pass. That was, you know, one of the follow-up passes. So, Is it perfect? No. But as a planning robot, I swear it is still every bit as good as GLM 5.2, but it gets the job done in a fraction of the tokens. And now that it's flashed here, it's like, yeah, honestly, this for me is going to be an upgrade. It really is going to be a big upgrade, because I'm probably almost immediately here. I have some tooling to get through, and I also want to finish a couple of features. But the evaluation went well. My tests went really well. Now that I know it's actually GLM 5.3 Flash, I'm probably going to be swapping out 5.2 for 5.3 Flash, because why would I not? It is so much better. Even if it is more expensive per token, the value of the token has gone up because it wastes so fewer of them in pretty much everything it was doing. I was letting it do builds for the testing. I'm not going to continue doing that, because it misses important details and is like, nailed it. No, you did not. Let's iterate a little bit. So yeah, I mean, overall, it's an impressive drop. It is open weights. You can get it now. We can head back to their blog post here. It is open weights. You can get it now. Their benchmark scores and all the rest are here. They go through and, you know, compare all of that. I skip all that. I don't care. I really do not care at all how it performed on a test in class. I'm going to take it, put it to work. And honestly, I mean, it really did do okay. I don't hate the result that I got. I genuinely don't. So, you know, if we go over to Gadget News, let me log in. If we go over to Gadget News and we take a look, you know, overall, the performance of the model, this entire session, finishing up the stocks and weather widget, was a grand total of 221,000 tokens. Call it 222,000 tokens if we round up. And it is quite the festival. Every time you see red, that's me prompting it again. Thorough, lengthy, you know, tasks, just working on actual features. And they've turned out like this.
We're starting to see what some are calling the anthropic exodus, where the very policies meant to project safety
the timing on that,
more like roadblocks for the people actually trying to build things. the core of the issue seems to lie in what critics are calling Dario Amodai's doomer marketing style. For a while, the strategy was to lean heavily into FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, to push for regulatory capture. The idea was to create a moat by making the technology seem so dangerous that only a few responsible players could be allowed to hold the keys. Well, it looks like that strategy might have backfired in the halls of power. Reports indicate that Amodai has actually been sidelined from certain White House meetings, with other figures taking his place in high-level government discussions. It turns out that when you spend your time trying to build a wall for regulation, people eventually start looking for someone else to hold the blueprints.
So anyway, this is at least the current progress. This is not done, but this is the current progress on my agentic newsroom. And, again, I just got done working with Aux Alpha or GLM 5.3 Flash on that widget at the top, right? So you can see, yes, it was able to get the red-green coloring and all the transitions that I want and all the rest of that. It was able to deliver on that. This model also did the shader for the left wall, which is simply mirrored onto the right wall.
Choice is starting to feel like
DeepSeek V4 and GLM 5.2 are responsible for pretty much everything else that you're seeing on the screen. But over the past 2 days, I was able to get through the development of the GLSL shaders, and also that stock and weather widget up top, the finishing touches to that. So it is absolutely able to do really good work. You just you're going to have to iterate with it. It's not going to nail it. And it's not going to one-shot things. My specs are pretty good. I tend to write like a markdown file, and then we go through and work on the file through prompts and all the rest. It's an involved process. So I'm not just saying build me a game, bro, right? Like I'm carefully specifying features and going through, and it does it. Like I said, it missed details. That text was originally all just the default color. It did not apply the red green based on change and stuff like that. Had to poke it. Go ahead, do the thing, please. But overall, it is fast, and it certainly doesn't waste tokens and whatnot. So I'm pretty impressed, especially since this is something you'll be able to run locally. I have no idea what kind of hardware you're going to need in order to pull that off just yet, and I'm sure that Unsloth is working on something to get it as small as it can be, but for right now it is a 320 billion parameter model, and that is not going to fit on the common consumer GPU, at least until Unsloth gets a hold of it. But anyway, I do have a write-up on the profile now. We do publish some articles, and so it kind of goes through literally all the details, including the fact that this was predicted. There was a researcher who was able to basically fingerprint and determine that this was GLM before the announcement. They, I think, dropped that yesterday. But overall, the efficiency is just super good. The pricing is also really good. Using it as my planning agent, given how much more efficient it is now in the just overall thinking and the rest, I actually expect to reduce my costs quite a bit and still get a phenomenal result, especially now that it's got vision, because this is something that tends to lack in the less expensive models quite a lot. And you just often wish, it's like, I just want to be able to show you this. Like, having to describe things like a user interface with words can get pretty tedious. Whereas being able to just show it a photo or Figma or a generated image or whatever, and say, no, like this, please, solves things so much faster. And again, I got a really good result. Is it a perfect, like pixel perfect clone? No, because I prompted it to not be. This is for guidance, right? Like the AI generated thing is not what I want on the screen. It was just enough for me to be able to convey to the model in vision language, right? This is what I'm looking for. And then it really cut the remainder of that whole task. So, as a planning agent, all the rest, superb. Loved it. As a coding agent, it misses details. I'm just being honest. It literally misses details. I almost prefer DeepSeek because sometimes it'll just leave like a crash in the code or a syntax error or something like that. But this gets everything, like all those aspects right, but it will straight up miss details. And that was just consistent over several different work sessions with it. So again, great job. Love the pricing. Love the fact that it's running on Chinese hardware too. Again, I do not want Nvidia to have a fucking monopoly on this planet over, who is going to be manufacturing the equipment that we're going to be using to run the intelligence that we want to use. I really want some choice out there to, drive competition, keep the costs where they belong. And it looks like we're heading in that direction. So anyway, this is problematic for Anthropic, and then I'm just going to leave on this final note because as you scroll X in modern times, it's not hard to find people literally crying about how they're being treated by Anthropic models, right? Like you're basically spending $200 a month to get slapped in the face and told no by a robot, right? And one of the things I will say right now for 5.3 Flash GLM, that thing follows the instructions, and I mean as best it can. It honors the constraints. It does the work, right? Like it was not a ridiculous experience to work with this model at all. Everything makes mistakes. I work with humans. They make mistakes. So I'm not like hypercritical on, oh my god, it missed a detail. I'm just saying, yeah, it missed a detail. Like if you do rely on make me a game bro, make no mistakes, send it. This might not be your model yet. And then again, it might be, because if you're running it locally in a loop, it was able to fix everything. It was able to get to where I wanted to go. So, maybe just don't expect it in a one shot, throw the thing in a loop, set a goal. I don't know, whatever it is Vibers are out there doing in modern times, do some of that. I think it'll probably shock the shit out of you just how compliant the model is, or at least tries to be. Let me put it this way. Across, I guess it was a total of about 6 decent sessions, not once did it try to work against me. Not once did it disobey. Not once did it even so much as misunderstand the assignment. It absolutely, what you would call prompt adherence, 10 out of 10. Straight up, 10 out of 10. It's just the fact that it's got 18 billion active parameters on 300-ish total that, it's going to miss some details once in a while. Break your tasks down more. I was going hard. I was going really hard. Let's do this and this and this. It got through it. Like I said, it just missed a couple of details here and there. Break it down more. You'll probably have no problem at all. It really, the speed of it, the efficiency of it, the overall end result, I can't say better things about it. It's going to be my new daily driver in the plan seat. That's where I'm at with it. Cheers. Enjoy the scroll. Get out of here, you crazy kids.